According to University of Michigan's 2010 survey, children are 24% of the total population, but 36% of the poor population. This means that one-third of the children in the United States are living in conditions of poverty. In this speech, we will be discussing how poverty affects learning. For the sake of this assignment, my definition of poverty is people who don't have access to food, shelter, or clothes. We will find out how poverty affects children's learning, how it affects children with special needs, and how schools are trying to help with the issue. Is it harder to learn when you're a victim of poverty? This led me to interview my brother, who is a Title I teacher. He works with students all day who are suffering from poverty. I asked him how it affects a student trying to learn. He replied with, "Poverty affects students in a multitude of ways. First of all, it can be very hard to concentrate on an empty stomach. People that know what real hunger is know that it's hard to think about anything other than food when you don't have it. Another way it affects kids is that it can bring up feelings of resentment when you see other kids with things you wish you had. It is also hard to concentrate on schoolwork when you are upset of these things. My next concern was that if any students got bullied due to their class status. Kids like to show things off prematurely, and the other kids will start noticing that they don't have what everyone else has. And as they're beginning to see that they don't have the newest technology or the newest clothes, then the other kids might start to see that they don't have the iPhone or that they wear the same outfit in the same week. This can definitely lead to name-calling, making fun of that person. Bullying. In what way can poverty affect a student with special needs? A report by the University of North Carolina's Department of Education found a strong correlation between poverty and special education placement and emphasized that children living in poverty are more likely to experience academical difficulties. We asked the life skills teacher what she thinks how it can affect students. She told us that many students with special needs receive services through the government, but it does not cover the cost of all of the assistance that is needed for children to succeed in society. Some of the children with special needs require things like assistive technology, physical therapy, speech therapy, occupational therapy, multiple surgeries, feeding tubes, 24-hour nursing care, and much, much more. With that being said, many families have a stay-at-home parent and only have one source of income. With paying for all of those extra needs, sometimes food and clothing aren't at the top of their priority list. How do kids help the children and families in poverty? My brother, a Title I teacher, told us that his school recently qualified for the entire school to get free and reduced lunch. This is one way to help with the situations, because the kids will be able to focus more on the work instead of the food. Also, the life skills teachers told us students receive food assistance through the school and other areas around the city. Hunger is a big issue around the world, just like poverty. In most situations, poverty leads to hunger, so I think it's good for the schools to get food for every child. Now that we've found out from a teacher's experience how poverty affects learning and how it affects children with special needs, we should be helping the schools decrease this problem. Now I ask you, does poverty affect learning? With this information that I just told you, I want you to decide if poverty does or doesn't affect learning.